Hey everybody, it's Craig back with another Mortgage Minute, and I'm excited because I've got Bobby Joe Barnes here with me with Simply Home. Hey Bobby Joe, how are you?
Hi, I'm great, thanks.
Hey, so Bobby Joe and I were talking before I hit record, and she made a comment that she's talking to a lot of buyers right now about the cost of waiting, and her insight was really good. So I was like, hang on a second, let's record this because some other people need to hear this. So Bobby Joe, when you were talking about the cost of waiting for a buyer, explain a little bit more about what you mean by that.
Yeah, well, I think there's a big misconception out there with the general public that the real estate market is going to crash or home sale prices are going to come down. But that is exactly that. It's a misconception. And the thing that I feel and am seeing and talking with my other colleagues is that there's so much uncertainty with the fluctuation in the rates that people don't truly have a really good confident decision making boost
Right.
because they're expecting home prices to come down, they're expecting interest rates to come down. The interest rates are really what we need to come down, but the home prices are not going to come down. They're going to, I'm seeing normalization,
Sure.
and I think it's important for home buyers to understand, and sellers as well, to understand that you need to maximize on your sale and you need to be able to maximize on that opportunity with the seller who's willing to pay rate buy down and closing costs right now. And if the interest rate isn't where you want it or need it to be right now, don't don't let that be a stopper from you purchasing, because in a year or two you can refinance that and get the rate where you want it, need it to be. So it's a short term kind of pain, I guess. And I don't think enough agents and I don't think enough lenders, quite frankly, are educating consumers on that aspect. There's too much media static out there saying the opposite. And we need more of the professionals like you and I and my colleagues to help educate and help them truly understand the difference. It could literally be a $50 difference versus a $200, $300 difference if they buy now versus waiting later, when um, the average equity increase around here standard has been around 6%. I think now it's at like 10 to 12%. So in 2 years, they could ultimately have way more equity that they can use towards other things and refinance and still be in the home that they love.
So let's put some numbers to that. So average equity increase, which I agree with you, the numbers that I'm seeing are closer to 10 or 12%, but let's use 6%, just
Yeah.
to be fair. So 6% of 400,000. So if you've got a $400,000 sales price, just a 6% increase in value means that that same home 12 months from now is going to cost 424,000. The house that today you could get for, let's just say, 400,000,
Mhm.
that home is going to be more expensive. Now, for someone that's watching this and they say, yeah, but I think home prices are going to crash. Listen, no one can predict the future, right? So I mean, we can't sit here and say there's no way that's going to happen. But I do think it's important to understand the dynamics of what would have to happen to make that happen. And the reality is home prices are based on supply and demand, right?
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
the truth be told, I mean, we're seeing 10 and 12% appreciation in a market right now to where there's not as much demand as we would typically have. Okay. But here's the problem. And then this is where if somebody's watching this going, yeah, but I really think home price is going to crash. Here's the problem. The supply is also not exceeding demand, right?
Mhm.
So right
Right.
now we're under supply. Okay. And so, and that's a completely separate conversation from interest rates. Okay. I mean, that
It is.
let's assume interest rates will never ever come down, which we're going to talk about that in a second, but let's assume that that'll never happen. Still today, we're under supply. Okay. And, you know, I uh, kind of jokingly say this, but the reality is how do you fix being under supply? Well, there's only two ways to fix it. One is new construction, and
Yep.
two is a removal of a large percentage of our population. Okay, I mean that's the reality,
Mhm.
because people are still being born every day. Okay, so so when we talk about, you know, how do we fix undersupply, it's not existing homeowners that put their house up for sale and go buy another home. That's supply neutral, right?
That's right.
It's building new homes, and you know what? I mean, the reality is you can't build a house in 3 days. Okay, so the new construction aspect is not going to totally fix that. Now you say, yeah, but interest rates are high. Okay, fair. I mean, that's someone's opinion. Historically speaking, that's not totally accurate, but I know compared to 2 years ago that obviously rates are higher. But the reality is buying a home today for 400,000, and then if interest rates do come down 12 months from now and that same person refinances, they might pay refinancing cost of, let's call it 3,000, right? Like we have a deal where someone buys a home from us, uh, does a mortgage with us to purchase a home, and in the next 2 years interest rates drop, we actually offset the lender fees that we would charge for the refinance. So I mean, somebody doing a refinance with us, it's going to be relatively low cost. Okay,
See,
and
and that is the kind of information that we need more of, and in different ways to help ease that fear of these buyers right now, because they are not only looking at their costs right now, but then what is it going to be? What is my cost in 1 to 2 years? I don't want to spend another 3,000 or $5,000 on closing costs just to. So for you to have a program that offsets some of those costs is
yeah.
amazing. It's great.
But but you know, for a buyer, you know, and I get this, like, hey, I don't want to spend 3,000. Okay, fine, but do you want to spend 25,000 more for the house? And that's a very
Yes.
conservative number, by the way.
Yes.
The math, if it's 10%, is 40,000. So you know, so for a buyer that's listening to this, watching this right now, especially first time home buyers, like that's the people that I'm like, hey, you need to take advantage of this because this is an opportunity. I get that if someone bought a home 2 years ago and they have a really low mortgage interest rate right now, I get that it's hard for them to say, hey, let me put my house up for sale and let me go buy another home, because they're looking at a differential in payment that's pretty significant. Okay. But there's a lot of first time home buyers renting today that their differential in payment is not the same, because guess what? All these people that own rental properties and are renting them out to renters, their costs are going up, right? So their rents are going up. So a first-time home buyer, and there's all sorts of programs. I mean, there's 100% financing programs. There are conventional loans that don't require you to put 5% down. People don't realize that. I mean, you could put as little as 3% down for a conventional loan for a first-time home buyer. If someone's income's under a certain amount, you know, that's also, and they don't have to be a first-time home buyer in that instance. So again, if you're watching this and you're saying, you know what, I would like to buy, but I've heard it's not a good time. I think what Bobby Joe is saying is you probably heard wrong. Is that pretty fair?
That is correct. 100%.
Uh, so with that said, I know there's a lot of buyers that watch these videos, and so if you want some help in understanding maybe what it would look like some properties available, Bobby Joe, I know you do a really good consultation for buyers to help them understand their options. So you have tools that you can use to show them what properties are available. Is that right?
Correct. Yes.
Awesome. What is the best way for someone to get in touch with you if they have questions about buying a home?
They can call me or text me directly at 615-618-3022, or email me at rebobbyjoe.com. I'm available, always have my phone with me for emails and calls and texts.
Awesome. Very cool. And we'll put her contact info into the body of this post as well. But Bobby Joe, thank you for taking the time. I appreciate you kind of sharing with my audience just the opportunity that they have right now.
Thank you, Craig. I appreciate the opportunity to be part of your.
And listen, if you're watching this right now and you want to get pre-approved, we would love to talk to you. So give us a call, 615-498-5626. And I appreciate you watching.